Since the wealth effect is the change in behavior that occurs in the absence of a change in opportunity costs, we need to compare across two parallel budget constraints where the opportunity costs don't change. We have two such parallel constraints, the green compensated budget and the magenta final budget. The optimal bundle on the green budget is bundle B, which therefore becomes our reference bundle as we think about how behavior changes when income increases from the green budget to the magenta budget. It would seem reasonable to assume that consumption now and in the future is a normal good. As a result, when income goes up from the green budget to the magenta budget, we would assume that we'll end up in a range on the magenta budget where both consumption now and consumption in the future are increasing. We'll therefore restrict ourselves to that range highlighted here. Whether our savings increase or decrease, however, depends on where we end up relative to bundle A. If we end up to the right of bundle A, then we consume more this summer, which means we must be putting less into our savings account. When we end up to the left of bundle A, we're consuming less this summer, which means we must be putting more into our savings account. Within the range on the final magenta budget, where both consumption now and consumption in the future are normal goods, we can therefore get one segment where savings decreases and another segment where savings increase. Whether savings increase or decrease therefore depends on how large the substitution effect is relative to the wealth effect. The substitution effect tells us to consume less now, which means save more, whereas the wealth effect, assuming consumption now is a normal good, pushes us in the opposite direction of consuming more now and therefore saving less. Notice that no matter where we end up on that bolded region of the magenta budget constraint, however, we'll end up lying above bundle A. This is because bundle B must lie above bundle A, and all the bolded points on the magenta budget lie above bundle B. Thus, we can conclude that so long as consumption now and in the future are both normal goods, we will end up consuming more in the future as a result of an increase in the interest rate if we're savers. The only ambiguity is whether we will save more or save less. It's possible here to save less and still consume more in the future because the interest rate went up. This distinction between what happens to savings and what happens to future consumption may be important for some policy debates. For instance, there are some policies that aim to increase the interest rate that individuals earn for money that they put aside for retirement. Will such a policy succeed? It depends on what you mean by succeeding. If your aim is to make sure that people consume more when they retire, then our model tells us that the policy will succeed. An increase in their interest rate will cause an increase in their future consumption. But if your policy goal is to cause people to put more into their savings account and to consume less, then it's not as clear whether the policy will succeed. The model tells us that people may save more or may save less as a result of an increase in the interest rate.